welcome to the Mums on Cloud 9 podcast. I'm Heather Black.
I'm Lynn Constantine.
And I'm Kelly Jace Halls.
We are your podcast co-hosts from the Supermums team, and we launched the Mums on Cloud 9 podcast to be your go-to destination for inspiring content to help you carve out a career and life that you love.
Each week, we will share expert advice, personal stories and practical tips across a range of topics from health and mindset to money and career growth.
So make sure you check out our website, www.mumsoncloud9.co.uk, and subscribe for weekly tips to elevate your mindset.
I'm delighted to welcome Rachel Green to the Mums on Cloud 9 podcast today. Really excited for Rachel to be here. We share much around the same mission of really empowering women to have flexible, well-paid careers. I'm delighted to be talking about this topic today with Rachel. Rachel is the founder of Wow Mums. Rachel helps women launch their new careers as virtual VAs and really helps them to get that first 1K plus much more money beyond that, of course. And so she's going to be sharing her secrets today about how she supports women to explore this career choice, what kind of skills, what kind of clients you might have, and how to actually get started. So really excited to have you here today, Rachel. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Hi.
So let's unpack it a little bit. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to even set up Wow Mums in the first place?
Yeah, so basically, I have been a PA for many, many years, probably 15 years or so. And everything changed when I had my first child. And I was just desperate to really work from home. Like I was working for a CEO at the time as a PA. And there just wasn't that flexibility. So I really started to look for something else to do. And I couldn't really find anything with that flexibility and something that I only wanted to work like Monday to Friday. I didn't want to work weekends because my husband works away quite a lot. So it was really important that I had that flexibility, and I couldn't find anything. So I kind of gave up on my kind of goal of wanting to be able to work from home. And then my daughter was born, and that's even more so when everything changed because she was born prematurely.
Wow.
So she was born at £1.10.
Wow.
Which will, yeah, 7 weeks early. It was a massive roller coaster. She's fine now, but that was the pivotal moment in my life when I was like, I've got to change. Like, I really want to be there for the kids when they get sick. I want to take them to school, bring them back from school, take them to their clubs, etc. So I then started looking again on things like Google as to what I could do from home, and this word virtual assistant came up, and I hadn't really heard of it before. So I kind of looked into it a little bit more, and I was put off actually to begin with, which is really weird because I read this article about how you had to be really extroverted, you had to be really into networking, really sociable, and I was none of those things, because they say, like, in order to go out and get clients, that's the personality that you had to have. And I was like, oh my God, I can't do that. Like, I can't do that. So I said to my husband, I've looked into it, but I can't do it. And he was like, really? Sure. So I put it on the back burner probably for about a month or so. And then it was still in the back of my mind. And I looked into it again. And really, with the birth of my daughter and that kind of inner voice saying, like, you've got to do something different, because I wasn't very happy at work. Like, it was boring. It was unfulfilling. I couldn't have that flexibility and freedom. And I wanted to make more money as well. And I couldn't. So I looked into it again, and I decided that I was just going to take the plunge. So I became a VA, and I managed to match my corporate income within 6 months. So I found clients, and I never had to work for anyone else ever again. And that was 2018. So yeah, quite a few years ago. So I did that. And then I decided that I wanted to teach others what I had done. So I wanted to really help other mums to be able to work flexibly from home, earn an income, and have that unlimited income as well, doing something that they can already do, like using their existing skills and leveraging those, and just giving them choice to do something so they don't miss out on their children growing up. So that's kind of a bit about why I started and my background.
That's great. So what actually is a VA?
So, I mean, the most common word is what people are known by is the word virtual assistant, but actually it doesn't have to just be like general admin. So a lot of VAs do general admin. That's fine, and that's where I started as well. So I did like general administrative tasks like email, diary management, things like that. But you don't actually have to just do admin. You could do social media management. If you've perhaps done a website, for example, for a friend, you could do website designing, even like being a lifestyle VA. So maybe organizing people's life, basically. So it might be that they've got their kids' birthday parties and they want someone else to organize that and manage that. You can do those things. So I do truly believe that if you want to, you do have some kind of skills within you in order for you to go out there and make money. It might be that you're really techie, like you really like software and things like that, and you can learn how to be a tech VA, or even like podcast management. Like it's really huge at the moment. And there's lots of podcasts out there that need a VA to help them just manage these podcasts. So there's such a massive variety of things that you can do. So it's not, you're not labeled just as doing like general admin. If you don't want to do that, of course you can if you want, if you've got experience in that, but you don't have to.
We find that within Supermums, we've got 3 VAs that work for us alongside the different managers. So I've got somebody that supports me on the social media side and helps me secure podcasts and reaches out on LinkedIn and builds connections for me and all of those different attributes. And we've got another VA who supports our HR and operations manager. She's very much on the people onboarding side of it, managing holiday, dealing with expenses, supporting people to get set up on that technology. And then we've got another VA that specializes actually more in the Salesforce skills. So she supports all our users with Salesforce and helps manages the system and all the administration related to the tech related to Salesforce. And so it's interesting, like you say, if you've got different skills, different passions, you can sort of fit in anywhere really.
Absolutely. And I've actually got a VA and she helps me to get on podcasts and get into articles and things. So she goes and searches for podcasts that would be suitable for me as well. And it's just amazing. Like even if you've organized your own wedding, like you still have skills like that you can help if you have those organizational skills, or you run your household, like you're still paying bills, you're still organizing the kids' activities and where they're supposed to be and managing all of that. That is a skill. And I think a lot of mums, they don't realize that.
Yeah, I suppose it's great to have a niche where you fit into a certain box, or you can be a VA for, like you say, doing admin tasks or.
Yeah, and I would say like if you don't know what to do, I pick a couple of things, because I don't want to kind of box anyone in and say like you have to do admin, like because sometimes you don't know what you like and what you don't like. So if you do like a variety of things, so for example I did like email and diary management, and then people were asking me to do social media, and I didn't really understand the whole world of social media back then at all, but I learned about it. And so like I offered those things, and then a bit later down the line I decided that I really loved the social media side, so I went more into that. And so if you're just starting, I would very much recommend think about what you are interested in, what experience you have. So it might be that you already are a PA, for example. What things do you like doing in your current job? Do you like doing diary management, email management, organizing things, and offer those? But it's very much like, I wouldn't say do things that you don't like, because that will just be a disaster and you'll just wake up hating your business. So think about what you like to do, what your strengths are, and maybe what past experiences, and even go back to like in your teens or your early 20s, early 30s, however old you are, and just think back about the things that you like to do. It might be that you have a hobby that's relatable, that you can kind of transfer that skill over and help another business owner.
Do you find that certain skills command more money? Because I know we talked about if you become a VA and you learn Salesforce skills, you could be earning like £400 a day, right? Because you buy a high-end VA, it's a good combination. Are there other skill sets that you think could command a higher salary versus other skill sets?
There are, and I think if you niche down eventually, so the way that I work it is start off offering a few skills, services, but then if you want to make the more money, like so if you want to make 1K packages, so if you want to charge like £1,000, you have to be more specialized in a certain area, like your Salesforce. Pick something that's very specific. So for example, if you were then to go into like social media management, I would be an expert in Instagram and offer Instagram for coaches and consultants, and be a very strategic expert in that field. And then you can demand the higher prices. Now that won't come straight away. It's going to take a little bit of time to get to that point. But that's what I love about this online world, is that there's no the income is unlimited, so you can really build up your business. Start off as a general VA, normally charge about £30 an hour, and then you can really bring that price up, and eventually you can start charging a lot more when you become more of an expert in one thing. So that's
industry knowledge as well would come into it, wouldn't it?
yeah, and it's just easier as well to market yourself, because when you become an expert in that field, people talk, so you'll get recommended. And if someone's like thinking, oh, I really could do it, you could even do it on LinkedIn, or you could be like a podcast, like literally just help podcasters manage the entire show, what goes on behind the scenes, everything that's involved, and you become that expert. So if someone says to you, oh, do you know anyone that, you know, deals with podcasts that can help me out, and you go, yeah, I know this person. And so it's a really good way to, it's a good goal to have, like start off where you're at right now, but in the long term, in the future, think about where you might want to go with this, because you can also not just do one-to-one services, you can actually make even more money by providing like a digital product or service, which will come with time. It's kind of what happened to me anyway.
World's your oyster, but this is what you teach them, right? All these different areas, which is great. So one of your stumbling things you said at the outset was about finding clients, and that was your big fear and how to go about it. So talk to us through some of those strategies that you took that kind of avoided, I suppose, the overt networking that you were terrified of.
Oh my God, I was so terrified of networking, especially in person. But what I found was it wasn't as bad as what I thought it was going to be. So there are all sorts of different ways to find clients, and a great way is to do like the local networking. And I was terrified. I was really, really terrified of doing that, but I did it anyway. And what kind of drove me and the determination I had was thinking about why I was doing this in the first place. So it wasn't necessarily for me, although I wanted to have a more fulfilled career. I wanted to do it for my kids, to be there for them. So that was in the forefront of my mind all the time. And I actually found a really good networking event, and it was really early. It was like I had to be there at 7 a.m. in the morning, which meant I had to get up at 6. And I didn't want to get up at 6 all the time. It was every other week. But I was just like, I've got to do this. And I just had that motivation and that drive, because I never wanted to go back and work for anyone else ever again. And that was my fear, like having to then go back to employment. So I didn't want that to happen. So even though I lacked confidence then, and I was extremely introverted, very shy, I still went to these face-to-face networking events and just kind of yeah, and I got clients from them, and it was a brilliant way to kind of network with people, and they were friendly, like they were nice people, they were human. And I think if you can find, I always say, like, go to a couple and then consistently go to the ones that you feel more comfortable with, where you think there are good businesses that you can have conversations with and refer one another. So that's one way, is doing the local networking. We are very lucky in today's world, though, that we have social media. So LinkedIn is very popular for VAs in order to find clients, and it's about consistency with all of these platforms, and the algorithm is that the platforms like that consistency. So I'd also say it depends how much time you've got as well. So for those maybe in a 9 to 5, if you're building this business up alongside that, and then you eventually want to ditch your 9 to 5, then limit yourself to one platform. So go all in on LinkedIn, go all in on Instagram, whichever one you prefer. Maybe you're on Instagram, like maybe that's something that you enjoy at the moment and you're doing it personally on there. Just pick one platform, be consistent. You've got to post on these platforms. You've got to create that good content. You've got to show up and engage, and you've got to connect with people as well. So let's take LinkedIn as an example. We love LinkedIn. One of my favorite platforms. And I very much did LinkedIn. I focused on LinkedIn in the early days and the local networking. So it was two things, and I was consistent with those actions. And so LinkedIn, post, you got to post. The more you can post on LinkedIn, the better. But the most important thing is the consistency. So if you only have time to do 3 posts a week, do 3 posts a week. Like, don't do 1 post and then miss a week and then, oh, I'll do another 2 another week. Like, be consistent with be posting. You've got to connect with people, and LinkedIn is a great place to connect with all sorts of different business owners. The thing I would say with LinkedIn, the most important thing is you have got to have your bio optimized, your profile optimized, your headline, your bio, the about section, really, really important. And you have got to think about the type of person that you'd love to work with, like your dream person. Who are they? What are they struggling with? And you've got to call them out really in your LinkedIn profile, because when you can do that, people come to you. So they will start DMing you rather than you having to always do like the chasing, always trying to find clients. We want them ideally to come to you. And if you're putting good content out there and you've got a really great profile that's fully optimized, you're going to do a lot better. And unfortunately, a lot of VAs don't have these things in place, which is a shame. But I didn't know that at the time either. It's something that you learn as you go. So those are kind of my tips on finding clients. Pick one platform online, do some local networking. There are loads of other ways as well, but I could talk about this for like all day.
And do you choose a certain client group? Because you mentioned about be specific at who you're targeting. It was a bit like you said, choose your skill set, but do you choose your client group as well?
Yes, to a certain extent, because I get a lot of pushback on this, and I completely understand why, because it's very hard to kind of niche down to a very specific industry from the get-go, because you don't know, especially if this is very new to you and it's your first business, you don't know who you really want to work with. You don't know the industry. So what I would say is just be specific with the type of person. So if you can use some, for example, if we're going to go over to LinkedIn and we're going to put our headline, okay, so that's basically what the words that you put under your name. So it's got to be something like, I help overwhelmed female entrepreneurs, yada, yada, yada. If you can just have an objective of overwhelmed or busy, someone, you know, the characteristics of that person, like they probably have similar values to you. So what values do they have? It's much easier to come up with a type of person than a specific industry from the get-go. So if you can at least have the type of person that you'd love to work with, maybe you have had a great boss in the past and they would be your perfect client, or maybe you've got a really great friend that would just make the perfect person, or a colleague, for example, a current colleague, an ex-colleague, just someone that you think, oh yeah, I'd love to work with them. There was that film, is it The Devil Wears Prada?
Yeah.
You know, like you might not want to work with that type of person. So, but there might be a film that you have watched that there's been a character in there that you think, oh, they would be amazing, like to work with. Just think of the type of person rather than like a specific.
Can we be thinking about things like Tom Cruise at this point then? Like, in the lead.
Be a celebrity VA. A lot of these influencers, celebrities have VAs as well. So you
Depends what roles they're playing in films, right?
Yeah,
legal VA.
Yeah,
I suppose
exactly.
in terms of pricing and packaging, would that vary from client to client?
So, I mean, the going rate, like the average rate at the moment, the time of recording, is £30 an hour. Back when I started, it was 25. So it does go up. And I would say that you can charge that right from the get-go. Like, don't feel like just because you're new that you have to charge under that. Charge £30. The key here is just to say it with confidence, even though you might not be feeling it, is that know that it's the average, because we want you to build like a profitable business. So if you charge lower, you do have to think about, you've got to pay tax. The beauty of being a VA is there's not a lot of expenses. Like there's a bit of tech, you need some Wi-Fi, but literally your expenses are very, very, very minimal. So most of the money you make is profit. But if you're charging like £20 an hour, for example, it's not ideal, because you want to make as much money as possible, and you also don't want to come across as cheap, like, because if you charge cheaply, you normally attract cheap clients. We don't want that either. In terms of packages though, like you say, it would be different for different business owners. It just depends what they need. So it might be that someone comes along and just says, I just need my emails checking a few times a week. So it might be that you're just doing like 5 hours a week for them, or a couple of hours a week for them. Or it might be that there's a client and their email is an absolute nightmare, like it's a disaster, and they just need it all decluttering. They need everything like made sure that things are moved over into files. Maybe they have a really busy diary, and so you might be working like 40 hours a month for that person. So it does depend, and you can put these kind of packages together, like you can do 20 hours, 30 hours, 40 hours. I would try, if you were kind of in the early stages, is doing like a 20-hour package. Try and not go below that. So I don't know, 20 times, what's that, 6, I don't know, my maths is awful. What's £30 times 20? Whatever that is, that's 600, isn't it? I think like
so.
a £500
All calculating in our heads now.
£500 a month is a good kind of average to start off with. And then like what we were talking about earlier in terms of creating those bigger packages, that's where you kind of, you're not charging on your time, you're charging on your expertise. So
More of the niche, yeah.
yeah, like if you're going to charge a 1K package, you're not going to say like, oh, I'm going to do like 30 hours a month for you. You don't put the hours in, you just are building a package on what the business needs according to your expertise and what you can bring. So it does vary for sure.
And so what are some of the biggest challenges? Like, it all sounds amazing, like sign me up tomorrow, but I don't need any more work. But no, I mean, it's absolutely something that I think a lot of the individuals that come through our program on Supermums, they train up his Salesforce skills. They can make great VAs with that specialism, as you say, start at £30 an hour and move up from there. And it all sounds amazing from that point of view. What are some of the biggest challenges that people come across in making this successful?
I would say it comes down to your resilience, because, and I think it kind of applies to any business owner, really. It's a roller coaster ride. Like, it's up and down. You have great days and you have bad days. You're going to have bad days, but the good days far outweigh the bad days. But there are going to be times when you wake up and you think, oh, I'm just going to give up, because you might feel like, oh, I haven't got my first client yet, or the clients that I do have are annoying me, or whatever it might be. So you're having these down days, and so you've got to build up that resilience. You've got to get up and just move on. Like, you can't let something affect you that much that it's going to knock you down and make you give up. So building up that resilience is really, really key. I'd say like the action that you take as well. So the challenges that I come across others having are getting that first client. The first client is always the hardest, and then the others normally follow quite quickly after that, usually. And so again, like with it's about taking the right action and the consistent action. So you've got to be doing having as many conversations as possible. And these aren't like with potential clients, it might just be another business owner, and you're having a chat with them and you're seeing how you can help one another. And so they then later down the line might come across someone who needs a VA, and then they can refer you to them. So it's about having these conversations. And I did this in the early stages. I hid behind my computer because I was so shy.
Literally, I can see you.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't want to get myself out there. Like, I didn't want to go to the network meetings. I didn't want to have conversations. I didn't even want to get on Zoom with people. I did, because I was so scared. But once I got over that, as soon as I started getting myself out there, everything changed. So it is about having these conversations. And I don't want people to think you have to be extroverted and all this, because you simply don't. And there's lots of people in my world. Many of my students have low confidence and they don't want to go and talk to people, but they get over it. And having that why, that reason, is also really important, because it will keep you motivated and it will keep you determined to make it a success. And I always say, like, you're not going to fail unless you give up. That's the only way that you can fail. If you keep going and going, it will happen for you. And I'm obviously here telling you can. I know it's very easy for me, but there's lots of other people doing it as well. There's lots of my students, they're winning clients all the time, which is amazing.
Brilliant. I think as well, I suppose every challenge that you overcome gives you more and more confidence. So, you know, as time goes on, you're going to build that confidence. Absolutely.
Even the early, like, building up that confidence is another thing. But even just having your first conversation, even if it's just with a family member, telling them what you're doing, that will build up a bit of confidence. Or maybe posting your first post on social media and getting loads of interaction, because that's another thing that people fear, like, oh, I don't want to post on social media, I don't want to tell people what I'm doing in case I get judged. But what happens usually is they just get loads of support, and then they're like, oh my god, and that will build up your confidence. So you take these little mini steps and your confidence will grow and grow and grow, and when you get that first client, it's like a massive confidence boost, and it will just keep going and going.
So Rachel, tell us a bit about your program and how you can support people.
So yeah, I have a membership. So the membership is designed to help you get started as a VA. So we go through exactly what services you can offer. We have like a whole list of 100. We talk about mindset.
Wow.
Mindset's very important. Like, so we make sure that you're in the right mindset in order to go out and find clients. We teach you to launch. We help you get clients. Make your first, it's actually 2K. So make your first 2K in the membership. We've got loads of tutorials, templates, worksheets, resources. There is live sessions in there. So I mentor in there. There's masterclasses. We have guest expert sessions. And we have a whole community of other people doing this as well. So you get your questions answered and you feel really supported. So it's there to help you launch and make this a successful business for you, so you can work from home. If you want to ditch your job, that's something that we will help you do as well, so you can have the flexibility and the freedom to be there for your kids, make an unlimited income, and have a fulfilling career. So we actually do have 50% off for anyone listening to this podcast. So I don't know if you put the link somewhere.
We'll put the link in the notes, in the show
Yeah.
notes. Absolutely.
That's
And
great.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, and you can also follow us on Instagram. So we're Wow Mum Global on Instagram. So come and follow us there. I give away loads of tips, templates as well on Instagram, and advice and things like that.
Really
as well.
good. I've looked.
Especially how to find clients, because that's the thing that people want to know most about, is how to make your first 2K as a VA. It's really, really important. So I talk a lot about finding clients as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I think it's really exciting, and actually say I'm very happy that we're all obviously here championing women to find that flexible, well-paid career. And you've helped. I love the fact that you've got a community globally, because I think it's so important that you're not isolated by yourself when you're running your own business.
No, that's another thing, is just to have that support, have other people doing the same thing as you, really, really helped.
Exactly. And so you're lifting people up, we're lifting people up at Supermums. It's a match made in heaven.
Absolutely.
Lovely to have you on the show and to talk about all the things we're doing. And obviously we can help all these women have the career and life they love, which is the whole point of Mums on Cloud 9. So I hope you've enjoyed today. Thank you for listening to the show. It's been a pleasure again to have Rachel here. If you want to find out more about her services and how she can help you launch as a VA, please check out the show notes and the link and get that 50% discount if you want to join today. But thank you. Thanks again.